Aloha, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Trauma Recovery University. I'm your host, Athena Moberg, and with me in the green room is your incredible co-host, Bobby Parrish. And tonight's topic that we'll be discussing is pregnancy. Now, this isn't just for men, or isn't just for women, even though it is the topic of pregnancy. We're going to be unpacking everything that there is to do with being an adult survivor of childhood sexual abuse when there is a pregnancy with either you or your spouse, you or your partner, the emotions that go along with that, the triggers along the way, the childbirthing process, all of the added stress of family, and if your abuse was in your family, and are those family members so enmeshed and connected? Are they wanting to be a part of some sort of celebration, like a baby shower or like a double baby shower where it's a co-ed? Are they wanting to be in the labor room? Are they demanding to invade your space? Are they insisting on coming to stay with you and giving you parenting advice? All of these things come into play when you talk about the topic of pregnancy. And when you add in the fact that we on this channel are adult survivors of childhood abuse, specifically childhood sexual abuse. And when you just lump it all together, anytime there is a milestone, whether that be a birthday, an anniversary, a death in the family, a birth in the family, it all is sort of connected because those milestones, the Hallmark card milestones that everybody gets excited about and buys cards for, sometimes those milestones carry a whole bunch of different baggage for adult survivors of child abuse, especially if the abuse was in the family of origin. So this is a loaded topic. We've already had several chats about this, and we're looking forward to openly discussing this topic tonight. You can tweet us your questions, as always, to the hashtag #NoMoreShame. And go ahead and tag myself and Bobby Parrish. I am at Athena Moberg, and Bobby is at Bobby L. Parrish. And without further ado, I want to welcome specifically anyone listening on a podcast platform. So if you have found us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, or even iHeartRadio, then we want to welcome you, and we want to let you know this is a video broadcast. You can find us on our Roku TV channel or our YouTube channel by searching for Trauma Recovery University. Now, as always, every single week, we do announcements in the beginning, and then we offer you a complimentary one-page downloadable resource, and it's in PDF format, and all you have to do to get that resource is go over, just complimentary as a thank you for being a loyal listener, viewer, subscriber, or just an awesome survivor. Go to traumarecoveryuniversity.com and click on the tab that says downloadables. You'll be given immediate access to our entire library of downloadable resources. And we hope that you enjoy tonight's broadcast. Please tweet us your questions or leave a comment in the on the YouTube channel below. If this video is helpful for you, give it a thumbs up, forward it to your friends. And we're just excited to have this conversation. Take it away, Bobby.
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. I just want to let you know that it was, I was really sick last week, and that's why we missed a week. The first time we have missed in 14 months of doing these episodes. So we really appreciate your grace and your patience as we struggle to have both real lives and to come to you guys regularly every week. So it is No More Shame November, the first Wednesday of No More Shame November.
Yay!
Pop on over. You startled me. Go over to the NoMoreShameProject.com website and click on the tab that says Pinables, and you will be able to see the No More Shame 2015 button that you can use either on your blog or as your avatar button, and download that and use it. And this is a month that we'll be talking a lot about awareness and advocacy for sexual abuse survivors. So I'm not going to take up time with a lot of different announcements. We've gotten a little bit of feedback that you guys like fewer announcements in the beginning. And so maybe we'll start tagging more announcements onto the end. And that way you can stick around at the end if you want to hear them. And in the beginning, we'll just kind of say the ones that maybe are most important. Sorry, my cold lingers on. I don't know. Athena, what do you think? Feedback.
We have gotten some feedback on just a couple of different areas regarding announcements, and I'm okay with putting them at the end. I always just sort of, I've been a huge proponent of us doing this broadcast and making it joyful and excitable and have it be very free-flowing, and that is sort of what we've always done for 14 months. And now that we've been in the public eye a little bit more, like we were talking about off the air, Bobby.
Yes.
I feel like now that we're in the public eye a little bit more, and our channel has a little bit of history behind it, we have, 500 or so, I think like 500 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and then a lot of Roku TV subscribers as well. I feel like maybe it's a numbers game, and the more you're sort of out there and the more people you have following you, the more likelihood you have that someone's going to be critical and sort of want to put in their 2 cents and, just communicate their needs more. So let us know, you guys. Let us know in the comments below. I'm fine either way, Bobby. Honestly, I just want it to be enjoyable. I don't want us to feel like we're trying to contrive or run on some sort of a schedule or sit here or whatever, or don't say this or make sure we say that. I mean, it really just takes the joy out of everything we do if we have to like be worried all the time. And so I personally just want to add value in any way that we possibly can to this community and talk about the difficult topics that a lot of people aren't talking about, provide our take and answer your questions, and whatever shape that takes, I just need to be okay with it, honestly. I just want to serve you guys to the best of my ability. So I wish I had a more definitive answer, Bobby. I'm a little bit exasperated.
That's okay. You guys let us know what you want, what works for you, and we'll marry that with what works for us.
Yeah. I feel like we have a direction. I mean, we've been going in the exact same direction infallibly for 14 months, and we've accomplished a lot. We've covered a lot of ground. We've helped a lot of people, and I don't see why we need to change everything because we've received a dozen out of the thousands of people that have sent us messages. We've received a dozen or so that want to complain. So I'm not sure. All I know for me personally is we love you guys. We care deeply for each of you. You belong here with us, and we hurt when you hurt. So we're here because we care. You guys are the reason that we do this every single week. I do want to issue a trigger warning. This is a broadcast about child abuse, specifically about childhood sexual abuse. We do talk about delicate issues on this channel. So if you're in the UK or Ireland or any of the areas around the UK, please reach out to the Samaritans. You can email one of the people there on staff that does crisis assistance, and there's a 24/7 helpline there. But you can email Joe, @samaritans.org. And I lost my little Post-it note when I got my computer repaired. So I'm not 100% sure. I know that if you're in the United States and Canada, you can reach out to, I know the Gatehouse is amazing in Canada. And when you're in the United States, you can reach out to RAINN.org. That's RAINN. That's Rape, Abuse, Incest, National Network.org. They have a 24/7 live chat feature on their website. Joe over at Samaritans.org does email and helps you via email. So we want to issue a trigger warning. This is very triggering, especially when you have the component of watching and tweeting at the exact same time for some reason, whether it's the multitasking, the overwhelm, whatever. It's very triggering for survivors. So come back later. Don't feel the need to interact with us. We'll go through our one page. We will be here. We'll add value. We'll help you to the best of our ability. But we don't want that to be at the expense of your mental and emotional well-being. So we just love you guys. And I want to say hi to Jack. Jack is here. I want to say a very special hello to Susan. Susan, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, unless I'm misunderstanding the tweet, she's a little bit triggered right now. And I just want to send her a lot of love. Sending you a lot of love, Susan. We love you so much. And we will indeed respond and do all we can when we're done broadcasting. So this topic of pregnancy, I was not able to be at Sex Abuse Chat last week. And as you know, we did not have our video last week on the topic of our CSAQT, which was what we've learned in our recovery. But for me personally, on the topic of pregnancy, during chat this morning, when we were discussing this topic, I was really hit with the realization that I was so enmeshed with my family, who were mostly toxic. They were mostly toxic and dysfunctional. I didn't realize there was a choice in the matter. I didn't realize there was a choice of having people present in your delivery room or not. I didn't realize there was a choice to attend baby showers or not. I didn't realize there was a choice to have healthy boundaries and say, I'm sorry, I'm not attending that. I'm sorry, I really don't want to spend time with you. I'm physically not okay. I have toxemia, gestational high blood pressure. I've gained 30 pounds in 3 weeks and my blood pressure is through the roof, and my baby's gonna be in distress because I'm around you. So I'm sorry, I don't wanna hang out. I didn't realize there was a choice because I was 18 years old. So you have a choice, first of all. I just want you to know that if you're watching this, you're pregnant, you're expecting, you are just realized you're pregnant, you just found out, or perhaps you're far along in your pregnancy or you're getting ready to go into childbirth in the next week or two. You have a choice. Maybe you're thinking about getting pregnant. Maybe you've just gotten married. Maybe you and your partner are discussing adoption. You have a choice. You have a choice on who you allow to hang out with you and who you allow to hang out with your child. So it hit me square between the eyes this morning that I really didn't realize I had a choice. I didn't realize that was something, those choices were something I could employ at the time. I was so enmeshed and so dependent upon my family's version of reality and control over my life. I didn't realize there was a choice. Bobby, what do you think? Any comments on that?
You know, I think that's interesting, Athena, because I knew I had choices, but my choices didn't work out the way I wanted them to. I was in Kuwait when I was pregnant with my son. I actually delivered in Kuwait. And I was the first American woman to deliver in Kuwait from my then husband's company. Usually the American women got pregnant, they went back to the States and delivered their children because the delivery system in Kuwait is so antiquated. You know, it's the woman goes in, she gets drugged, she labors and delivers on her own, no husband not allowed to be there. She's not even fully aware because she's sedated. And then, you know, comes to later and they hand her the baby and say Mabruk, and that's it. So I was the first woman to choose to stay, and I wish I hadn't. And my birth experience was not that awesome.
No. I'm so sorry, Bobby.
I chose to stay, but I thought it was the right decision at the time. And there were so many other complicating factors. But we're going to talk when we go through the one page a little bit about traumatic birth experiences. And that's why I added this in there, because I think all of us need to understand that when we have, those of us who are survivors, when we have a traumatic at birth experience, trauma is cumulative. And so it adds on and adds on and adds on and adds up and adds up and adds on up and adds up. So,
I hadn't even thought about that until I when we were tweeting back and forth this morning during chat, for those
Right.
of you that are not familiar, we have a chat in the mornings in the United States, which is in the evenings, and it's more for our UK survivors. It's at 6 p.m. in the UK, and it's at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern, and it's usually on the same topic that we're discussing here on our videos. So Bobby, when you mentioned that this morning about the trauma being cumulative, specifically with regards to a traumatic birth experience, to say that I was stooped into silence and didn't even know what to say because the reality of it is that it was beyond traumatic.
I can only imagine for you at the age you were at and how little support you had.
My main abuser was there with me the entire time, screaming and yelling, and I was so humiliated. The staff at the hospital, security came and got her. She was throwing her credit cards at the people. Give her an epidural, give her drugs, whatever you do. It was, and then I had other abusers that were there as well. And then my son's dad was so young. He was 18 as well. He had just turned 19. I had just turned 19 a couple days before, 2 days before I went into labor. It was so beyond traumatic. It was so horrible. It was really, really awful. And I always thought that it was because I was young. That's what I was told. I was told that the reason it was traumatic and that it didn't go the way I wanted is, well, what do you expect? You were 18. That's the answer I got every time. What do you expect? You were 18. As if that sort of...
What made it all acceptable. And it was your fault, Athena, because you were 18, right?
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? That victim shaming and blaming crap, instead of someone saying, you know what, that's because your abuser was there and she was in full-blown narcissist mode, and nobody was supporting you. And yeah,
in her own way, she thought she was supporting me but it wasn't really supporting. Like it was just, it was traumatic, and it was awful. And I had a stroke in labor, Bobby.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I had no permanent brain damage, supposedly. Yeah. They called it a mini stroke, whatever that means. Mini stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I didn't have any of the, like, I didn't lose muscles in my face. I wasn't paralyzed on one side of my body, but apparently my heart stopped beating for like 11 seconds or something like that. So.
Wow.
Yeah. And they induced me because my blood pressure was 202 over 104.
Yeah. That's definitely induction range. I'm surprised they didn't do a C-section.
I begged them not to because I was told that it would ruin my body.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't ever want a C-section. Whatever you do, it ruins your body, Athena. You don't ever, ever want a C-section. It ruins your body.
Yeah, I can tell who said that to you.
I had a few. I actually had a few. I had several.
Oh.
Believe it or not. Interesting. But yeah, just today's topic was interesting for me because I think there were a lot of realizations that I had never really thought to even, I never thought those thoughts before, if you know.
Well, you know, I think this is one of those topics that doesn't often get discussed when you're in recovery from child abuse. We talk about the more recovery-related topics. We talk about repressed memories, we talk about coping with emotions. But we've been doing this for 14 months now. We have covered most of the big old topics. And we still have some left to cover, and we'll never run out of topics. But some of the things that we're going to talk about now are the things that are not normally discussed when it comes to recovering from child abuse. And it's a shame, and it's one of the reasons why you and I are going to keep putting out these videos, because survivors need to understand that there is quicksand in their lives at various points. And nobody tells you things like, be mindful that when you have a child, when that child turns the same age as you were when you were abused, that this may be very triggering for you. Nobody tells you that if you get pregnant and go through childbirth, you may experience a hard time. And so be mindful of that. No one tells you that if you're a man and your partner gets pregnant, that you are more liable to develop postpartum depression than a man who is not a survivor. You know, we don't talk about these things, and we need to know, survivors need to know, you guys, you need to know that normal milestones for people who have not been abused, either domestic violence or childhood abuse, you know, like Athena said, they're Hallmark card moments for everyone else. Not that, you know, people don't go through normal stresses and things like that. I don't mean to deny that, but they can be a minefield for us. And there are reasons for that. It's not because you were 18. You know, it's not because I chose to make a decision to have my child in Kuwait. It's because of the abuse that we suffered when we were children that piggybacked on top of the regular life experiences that we have had. And, you know, we need to talk about those because everybody needs to understand. All of the survivors out there, men and women, need to understand that along with pregnancy can come some significant issues. And you can feel like you're going backwards in your recovery. You can feel like you're stumbling. But it's not your fault. And it's not because you've done anything wrong. And it's not because you're weak or you're stupid or you have character flaws. It's because you're a human being who was abused when they were a child.
I just feel like this topic in particular, Bobby, remember when we discussed gaslighting and how many light bulb moments? I mean, we're still receiving emails regarding gaslighting and how many light bulb moments gaslighting is. The gaslighting topic is, people are just having so many light bulb moments on that topic. So when you're sitting here with me right now on this hangout and you're talking about this, I'm realizing that gaslighting and those messages that were given to me and passed off as reality, there were many, 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 many of them with regards to my pregnancy. A lot. And regarding my delivery and regarding my son when he was a baby. And this is very similar, you guys, when we talked previously on the gaslighting topic. If you haven't seen the video on gaslighting and you're wondering what is this gaslighting thing that she's even talking about, when you are given a message and you are told a story that is not really reality, it's just a manipulative tactic to sort of divert you from the truth of what happened for whatever reason. I mean, I was told, just like I was told my entire life, that the reason that X, Y, and Z happened is because I was clumsy, or because I was overweight, or because I was a nail biter, or because I was not respectful, or because I was, you know, fill in the blank. That's the reason why so many other bad things happened to me during my childhood. So, and I believed that. And I even had my son, and since I was at such a young age when I did deliver my child, I had just turned 19 a couple days prior. So I still didn't know that a great deal of my childhood abuse was in fact abuse. So for the first almost year of my son's life, I knew I needed to reinvent the wheel every day. and I knew I needed to have healthy habits and develop a system of my own and be my own parent to my own child and do what was right, I still, looking back, think, you know what? Like, I didn't do it correctly. Like, what was modeled for me was actually very unhealthy and borderline abusive. And I'm not saying that I abused my son intentionally for a year. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that certain behaviors or ways that I would speak or ways that I would act or responses that I would have to certain things were in fact borderline abusive, because that I just thought it was normal. Like, I didn't even know that half of my childhood was abuse until recently, and I'm 42. So try not to beat yourselves up, you guys. This is so big of a learning curve when you are in your 30s and 40s and you're finally having memories because they were repressed for so long because your brain was trying to protect you. And now here you are on this recovery journey, and it is so overwhelming. And all of a sudden you throw into the mix these Hallmark holidays, you know, like birthdays and giving birth to a child and, you know, whatever. It's just so much, you guys. It's so much to deal with, and it's so much to figure out. And like Marie Forleo always says, everything is figure outable. For the adult survivor of child abuse, specifically childhood sexual abuse, while I do believe that everything is figure outable, I also want to acknowledge that it can be a little bit more difficult, sometimes a lot more difficult for you to figure it out, because everything that you were taught or that was modeled for you wasn't necessarily the healthy choice that you would have chosen to make. Bobby?
Well, and I think the operative word when she says everything is figure outable, there's a huge pile of everything on our plates. When she says everything is figure outable, I agree, but I have about 50 years worth of everything piled on my plate, please. You know, I have a lot. It's going to take me, you know, another 50 years to pick through all of that and figure it all out. And it's not like a lot of it's written in plain English. So while I agree, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
Exactly. I just wanted to put the blanket statement out there. It's
Yes.
A lot of work. And like when I'm encouraging you guys, or when I'm recording these videos that I put into our groups and so forth, and I say, you know, yes, you can do this. You can overcome. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what you've been through. You will overcome. You can make it. I never, ever once ever say, and it's going to be easy.
No.
And it's going to be fun. And it's going to be awesome. And it's going to be great. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you will make it. And when you're in safe community and you have others reflecting back the good that's in you, it makes it a lot more simple and a lot more enjoyable, even though it's not ever easy. So I'm glad you're here with us. I'm glad you've chosen to watch this video. We consider it a privilege to spend this hour with you every single week. We have an excellent one page that's very comprehensive, very straightforward, a lot of facts, a lot of just everything's just very simple for you to go, okay, pregnancy, I'm an abuse survivor, got it. It's going to be a little bit different. We have an awesome one page for you. You can get that by going to traumarecoveryuniversity.com and clicking on downloadables. Just page down and look for where it says pregnancy and childbirth. And just know that you're not alone. Please just know you're not alone, and know that we care. We really do care. And if it takes us a while to respond to your comments on YouTube or Roku or emails or on the website or anything, please just know that we're a little bit backlogged. It's just the two of us right now, and we have a couple of volunteers that are very part-time, but we care deeply for you, and we want to do our best to add value and to make your lives just a little bit easier, because you deserve it.
Absolutely. Shall we look at the one page?
Yeah, I was thinking that would be good, because I know that this is about the time we normally
My cursor's gone wild. Cursor's gone wild.
Mine was turning into a big, huge arrow that was about 2 inches wide the other day, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. My cursor, like when I would move it around, my arrow was like 2 inches in circumference or 2 inches in diameter.
Okay, wackiness, or as I tell people, I'm feeling wonky.
Yeah.
Wonky. Okay, so here we go. Again, our one pages, the format is always the same. Top half of the page is information, education, and the second half of the page is going to be all about tips and strategies to help you cope with the topic that we're talking about. So this week we're talking about pregnancy, and again, men and women. So how does it impact both the female survivor who is pregnant, and how would it impact a male partner who is a survivor, who is, accompanying their partner through this pregnancy, childbirth, initial newborn stage. We talked about that a little bit this morning too. That's a whole nother mess of minefields. It took me years to feel like I was a competent parent. But that's another video. Okay. Many of life's milestones become landmines in the life of a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. For other people, the events might be nothing but happiness, but for us, it has fear and anxiety attached to it. And one of those milestones is pregnancy and childbirth. And like I was talking about earlier, sometimes that milestone might be the year your child turns when you were abused. It could be getting married. It could be when your child's christened. Any number of things. It could be when, you turn the same age as your abuser was when they were abusing you. All of these things can have trips and triggers for survivors. So not to tell you this so that you look forward to this with doom, but so that you are prepared in case all of a sudden, out of nowhere, drop some unexpected feelings and thoughts and memories.
Yeah, we just want you to be equipped.
There you go. Equipped. Have your toolbox full of information. Many of us who were abused as children, especially if we were abused by our parents, live in fear of being horrible parents ourselves. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that your parents had to be your sexual abuser. Many children who were sexually abused outside the home also had dysfunctional or chaotic family environments. And that contributed to why the child could be isolated and groomed and abused by someone else. So if your childhood situation with your parents was dysfunctional, if your parents were dysfunctional, then we often grow up with that fear that I can't possibly become a parent because I will not be a good parent. I can't tell you how many survivors I've worked with who've consciously chosen not to have children because they didn't believe they could be a good parent. And so they chose not even to go down that road. Some of us, our pregnancy was a surprise. And we find out we're pregnant, and then all of a sudden we're just overwhelmed with fear of what kind of a parent am I going to be. Some of us, even when the pregnancy is planned, but the moment that you find out that you're actually pregnant, again, you're overwhelmed. If you're a father and you were abused as a child, the same holds true for you. When your partner becomes pregnant, that might be the moment that you really start to feel the weight of, can I possibly even be a good father to this child? So instead of pregnancy being a time of joy and happiness and anticipation, happy anticipation, it becomes a time of worry and rumination, So ruminating, meaning that you've got cyclical thoughts in your head that you're worrying about, worrying about, worrying about. And instead of happy anticipation, now you have worried anticipation, or now you're anticipating things not going well. And none of that makes for a happy, enjoyable pregnancy. And keeping in mind that for a lot of people, pregnancy means you're going to actually see more of your family than you would before.
That
Okay.
is so difficult for so many survivors, you guys.
Yes, because now all of a sudden everybody wants to be a part of your life. They all want to rub your belly. They all want to have baby showers. Or, this is lovely, we had multiple people talk about this in chat this morning, and I feel horrible for them. They were told, you're going to be a horrible parent. Look at you. You're going to be an awful, awful parent. You have never been capable of anything. You are going to be horrible. Or,
I
go
was
ahead.
told, I hope your child turns out just like you.
I hope that too, Athena, because you're a wonderful person.
That's not what they meant, though.
I
When I
know.
was younger. And then I knew what they meant, and I sort of owned it at the time. So it's painful.
It is painful. And then there's, of course, the other ugly side to what people say about, well, you were abused, so, you know, you're going to abuse your children, don't you? You shouldn't really become a parent because, you know, since you were abused, you're going to go ahead and abuse your children, which is one of the most horrific myths that I think survivors deal with. And I shudder for all survivors who are told things like that when they are pregnant, because that is a horrific thing to already echo the fears that we feel inside our head. But it's not true. So not true. Although I realize that when you're pregnant and you're worrying about a million things, it's harder to understand that that is not true, but it is not true.
Yeah.
And then comes the lovely relationship with our bodies. And this is particularly true for, you know, female survivors who are going through the actual experience of the pregnancy. We tend to have lousy relationships with our bodies because of our abuse. So much extra shame, so little tolerance for invasive medical examinations. You know, we're stressed about breastfeeding. All of those things have an extra layer of difficulty and shame for us. And pregnancy, boy, you're going to get it all, right? You know, you may become used to this one particular obstetrician that you absolutely love, and then you go in for your next appointment, and your OB is out because they're at a delivery, so you get to see the fill-in. And it's a man. And the last thing you ever want is for a man to do an obstetrical examination on you. But there you are. Or you go in to give birth and your OB is not available, so you get a stranger. It is just the labor and delivery and obstetrical maternity health part of pregnancy can just be fraught with minds for survivors to walk through. And so we get it and we understand that, and we really, 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 really want to acknowledge that for you and let you know that you are not alone if you're stressing or if you have stressed about those things. And there are some ways to deal with it. We're going to talk about that down in our tips and strategies.
Hey, Bobby.
Uh-huh.
I have a couple questions coming in that I wanted to address.
Hit me.
Okay. So one of them is, I am terrified of giving baths. I'm not a mother and it may never happen, but this fear is still real. That's from Anita. Anita, you are not alone. I was absolutely terrified to bathe my son and that it would somehow be inappropriate or viewed as inappropriate, or I was just so always careful. Door open, I mean, this is my child, but I still had that. I had that terror. Bobby, what did you have? What did you experience with regards to giving baths?
Oh, absolutely. Um, and I'm not sure exactly what Anita is referring to, but I was terrified that I would drop my child. I mean, here he already is, this slippery little thing, and I've got soap, right? I'm slip.
Yeah.
I was no, I was sure. I was just sure that I would drop him or he'd squirt out of my hands and hit the concrete
Oh
floor.
my
Or,
gosh, I thought the same thing, Bobby.
you know,
There's one more question here.
okay,
So Anita, you're not alone. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, you're not alone. We both have experience with being afraid of the bath time experience.
yeah,
It's terrifying, especially if you were abused as a child. And I just have horrible, horrible bathroom memories. And I mean, yeah, I even bathed my son in the kitchen sink
I
for
did that too. Uh-huh.
as long as I possibly could because I didn't want to go into the bathroom. Like I just didn't want to do the bath time thing in there. So I have one more question here, Bobby.
Okay.
It's from Grace, and she says, my mom was an enabler. What if I am like her? If I ever have children, how do you keep your children safe? It terrifies me.
Um,
I think being mindful really helps. Like
it
really, like
does.
writing down your goals and checking in with yourself every single day, making sure that you're following through with those goals that you have for your children. What do you think, Bobby?
I agree with that. And I think it's also very important for us as survivors when we're going through a sticky patch where we're unsure that we do have a team of people who are in our lives that we can go to and say, okay, I have no idea whether I'm being healthy or whether I'm screwing this one up. I need some feedback because sometimes when we are in the thick of the middle of that situation, it's not possible. And sometimes we're learning new skills on the fly. And it's always important to have people that you can go to and say, okay, I don't know how to do this. And I think too that you want to find some people who can mentor you. Find some people that you look at and are good parents and form a relationship with them so that you can watch them. You can ask questions. Last week in sex abuse chat, somebody made the comment that if you have the choice, it's always good to be in therapy before you have your children so that you can get some of that important work done. And I think, if you are a younger viewer and you're watching this or you're listening to this, I would agree with that. If you have that option, you should do that. You should tackle some things before you have children. But it's not always
Absolutely.
possible.
No. Because a
And,
lot of times, if you're younger, you don't have memories.
no.
For men, the average age that they start having memories is like 30 or 42, and for women, it's like what is it like 33 or something like that? I mean, it's just an average age that I was reading. Like when they start to have most of the memories like come flooding back in, and many times you choose to be a parent earlier than that, you guys.
Yes, exactly. It's not
Yeah.
like, we can wait until those memories come and then have children. We don't even know that we're supposed to wait for them. We don't even know they're there. So,
Yeah. Oh, Jack wants to make sure that we talk about some things that were mentioned last Tuesday. We have that down in our one page, Jack. We are going to be addressing for men how this can affect men as well. Bobby, you were there on Tuesday and I was not able to attend. Do you know specifically the topics that Jack is referring to?
I think I'm not. I'm thinking that probably what he's talking about is the postpartum depression. And
Okay.
yes, we are
Yes.
going, and that, in fact, boom, next paragraph, Jack.
All right.
Due to our abuse and the long-term damage it does to our brain and our brain chemistry, childhood abuse survivors can be particularly susceptible to both prenatal and postpartum depression. And we put our little statement in here, yes, both mothers and fathers. Yes, men can get prenatal and postpartum depression. It's not just about hormones. But they're starting to really understand that men go through some hormonal shifts and things during pregnancy too. But first of all, there is such a thing as prenatal depression. Okay, you can have depression during pregnancy. I mean, it's one thing if you've been depressed up until the time you got pregnant and your depression continues into your pregnancy, yes. But you can develop depression in your pregnancy. It is called prenatal or antenatal depression. Okay, so be aware of that. It's not talked about very often. And then there is postpartum depression, which is the depression that comes about after the child is born. Both men and women can develop the prenatal and the postpartum depression. And you need to be mindful of that. I think so often it's put down to, what they call, the baby blues. But we as survivors in particular need to be very, 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 very vigilant to watch for signs of postpartum and prenatal depression. And it's just important because it's important for you to get help if you feel lousy. Postpartum depression interrupts the bonding process, the attachment process between mothers and fathers and baby. There's also the risk of it transforming into what's called postpartum psychosis. And that is ferociously difficult for moms to deal with. I don't hear of it very often in terms of men, but for women, it's rare. But when it happens, it's very severe and can lead to really tragic results. So please be aware of this and get help. And this is why when we talk about tips and strategies,
I wanted to really quick mention to really, really, really be on the lookout, you guys. Write yourself a note if you need to. But if you are going through any of this right now, or you're planning on becoming pregnant, really be on the lookout for minimizing dialogue. Minimization is huge when it comes to any type. You'll hear people say stuff like, well, what did you think it would be? A walk in the park? I mean, come on, you're pregnant. I mean, it's childbirth. Of course it's going to be painful. Hello. And you could get a lot of minimizing dialogue that could happen even from very well-meaning caregivers and professional, even professional doctors and nurses. I mean, I remember specifically receiving a lot of minimizing dialogue coming from my caregivers while I was pregnant. I mean, from the nurses to the doctors to the people at the hospital. It was all very, very, very minimizing and devaluing and dismissing. And it's just not acceptable, you guys. You deserve to be treated with kindness and dignity. You deserve to have a good birthing experience. Your baby deserves it. You deserve it. So when you start to hear people say things that are very minimizing or dismissive, please call them out. Please let them know ahead of time that those things are not going to be something that you're going to be okay with. When you interview, if you have a chance to interview your OBGYN or the person that's going to be your baby's pediatrician, I know that's very popular these days as I did research for this week. I mean, you get to interview them. So please, please, please put down on your list of interview questions. Are you comfortable with me dialoguing with you about things if I feel that there's anyone on your staff or in the hospital that is dismissive or minimizing when I'm experiencing something traumatic because of my childhood sexual abuse? You have to address it at the very, very, very beginning. It's difficult to address, you guys, but please don't allow your pregnancy and your birthing experience and the trauma that you've incurred as a child to be minimized or dismissed. Please do not allow that.
And if you're feeling like maybe that isn't something you're able to do, that's when you need to bring people with you to your doctor's appointments.
Yes.
And that's when, one of the things we'll talk about down here in the bullet points, you need to consider hiring a doula for your birth experience. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. And it's very important that you notify your maternity health care providers about your childhood trauma, and that you ask for what you need to have a successful pregnancy and delivery. You might not know what you need initially. You might not know what will help you feel better. But they might have some suggestions. But do tell them, inform them, let them know. You don't have to give them down and dirty details. You can give them just the blanket statement, I was sexually abused as a child. I still have some triggers and some trauma because of this, and I'd like to let you know. Then they can ask any questions that they feel like they might need. And then the second point, consider hiring a doula. If you don't know what a doula is a support person for the pregnant mom during delivery and during labor and delivery. So they're an advocate for and a support person for the mother. And I am just a super, super, super huge fan of doulas, because they are there for no reason other than to help you have a positive birth experience, help you be supported, and help you get your needs met. I have no clue what the running price is to hire a doula to be present. I know that they can often meet with you for several times before your birth, and then they'll come visit you at home, usually 1 or 2 times after your birth. But I would just, if you have the capability to hire someone, I would absolutely do it. If you don't have the capability to hire someone, and you have someone in your life who you know and you trust, then absolutely invite them to be with you during the labor and delivery so that you can use them as an advocate. I had a friend when I was going through my graduate degree program, and her husband was a survivor, and she knew that he was going to have a difficult time during her labor and delivery. So I came and I was there during the labor and delivery for no other purpose than supporting him, so that he felt like he could be fully present and be supported, so that after the whole labor and delivery was over, he didn't feel like he didn't get to fully participate as much as he wanted to. So don't hesitate to ask someone to do that for you. It's perfectly okay. And I would specifically recommend that if you're in a situation where you may not get to pick who is going to actually deliver your baby. You know, maybe you have to work with a huge medical practice, and you're just going to get whoever's on call that night, because of course babies want to come in the middle of the night, right?
Yes, they do.
So yeah, especially you need some consistency. And when you get to the hospital, you need to have this next item, but you need to have this during your pregnancy as well. You need a birth plan. If you don't know what a birth plan is, a birth plan, I'm sure you can Google birth plan template and pull it up, and you'll find a million of them. It is a description of what you want to have happen and what you don't want to have happen during your pregnancy, your labor, and your delivery. And this is the perfect thing to put down on things like, I do not want to have, if at all possible, I don't want to have a male nurse when I labor and deliver. I, specifically would like to have access to a bathtub, because I want to sit and soak in the bath when I'm in labor. I don't want to have an IV unless it's medically necessary. So sometimes, a lot of times when you go in to have your baby, they'll put an IV in just in case. And you can ask, I don't want one. I don't want an IV. I don't want you to start one unless we know it's medically necessary. So that's what your birth plan is for. It's for all about the things that you want to have happen during your pregnancy and delivery, and the things you don't want to have happen during your pregnancy and delivery.
Yeah.
And then this one, monitor your moods during your pregnancy and after childbirth for those signs of prenatal or postpartum depression. You know, rip that one out of the page of that book, What to Expect When You're Expecting, and stick it up on the fridge. You know, ask your loved ones to let you know if it looks like you're having a hard time. One of the most difficult things for new moms and dads is that lack of sleep. And if you already have a history of depression or a mental health issue, that lack of sleep can be especially difficult because it triggers that brain chemistry in our brain, of course, not brain chemistry in your sock or anything, to go wonky. So watch for that. And, you know, last but not least, certainly not least, go ahead and limit your exposure to your abuser or your family members. You know, if they weren't your abuser, but your family was still chaotic and dysfunctional at heck, it is okay to not want to engage with them while you're pregnant. It is just fine. And if you don't want them in your hospital room, if you don't want them there when you're delivering, let your nurses know. Put it in your birth plan. It is part of their job to not allow people into your hospital room that you don't want there. And definitely not into the hospital room when you're delivering if you don't want them there.
Yeah. You have a voice. Anita was just mentioning, she says it's really good. She needs to remember that these people are working for her, and she
Exactly.
She has a voice, you know. That's hard for us, you guys. I mean, it's difficult even sometimes, obviously not on the topic of pregnancy. I mean, just communicating your needs to someone that is providing a service, whether it's someone that is working on repairing your computer or repairing something in your home, or even eating in a restaurant and bringing you your meal. It is difficult to communicate your needs. So on a topic this big, like pregnancy and childbirthing, it can be very difficult to communicate those needs that you need to communicate, and remember that you do have a voice and that you do matter, and that it is their job to do what you tell them to do. That's why they get paid $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for a birthing experience, or whatever the new price might be. I mean, mine was extremely expensive because of my medical complications, but very expensive.
You should give birth in Kuwait. I had an emergency C-section, and I was in the hospital for 3 nights afterwards, and it was $2,400.
Wow.
So there you go. Everyone, flock to Kuwait and give birth.
Or
No,
not.
kidding.
You regret it. Because you regret it.
Yeah, but that was the one silver lining. It was cheap.
I love it. You're so cute with your silver lining. So I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Kate and Jack and Grace and Anita and Julie Ann. And just I just want to thank
Sarah.
And Sarah, sweet Sarah. I just love you. We just love you guys, and we're grateful that you are here asking your very important questions, or watching, or tweeting, or just here to support your fellow survivors. You guys are amazing, and you're the reason we show up every week. So I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. We're going to be transitioning into the part of our broadcast where we share with you our contact information, our email addresses, how you can find us on social media, the different ways that you can connect with us throughout the week on the complimentary, the free live events that we have every single week for the community of adult survivors of child abuse, specifically childhood sexual abuse, although we have a lot of different people that come to our weekly events that are not sexual abuse survivors, they're child abuse survivors. So we're transitioning into that portion of our broadcast now. We do appreciate you spending time with us and tweeting us your questions to the hashtag No More Shame. And stick around if you want to hear any current events or announcements, or want to know further information about how to contact us personally.
Okay, let's look at ways to join our safe communities. Oh, I just lost myself. I'm lost.
You're
Here
right there. I definitely see you. Or I see your screen. I see.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, ways to join our safe community. We have three Twitter chats every week. The first one is Monday, as Athena said earlier, and it's at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and that is 6 p.m. in the UK. We just went through our really strange week week and a half where the British daylight savings time was different from the US savings time, and we were out of whack for a week, but we are back in whack.
We are back in whack.
Back in whack. Yeah. Yeah, we get some really interesting sayings, don't we? Like this morning when Jack was saying in chat, he said resting.
Yes.
Shame. W-R-E-S-T, resting.
Yes.
And I read it as wrestling.
I read it as wrestling also.
And I thought it was the most amazing saying that he had, he had coined this phrase, and I loved it. And then he said, well, that's not what I said. Oh.
I know, right? Whoops, whoops, whoops.
I like it anyway.
So we
love
have
your sayings,
little
Jack.
language on
Yes,
things.
we do.
We call you guys friendlies, and we call you beautifuls, and you're our family. And yes, they're made up words, but they're made up for you. They're special for you. So
yes,
yeah, love them or leave them.
So that hashtag on Mondays is CSAQT, and it stands for Child Sexual Abuse Question Time. And then there is this Twitter chat live video interactive forum that we are chatting with you right now, and that is at 6 p.m. Pacific time or 2 a.m. Tuesday morning in the UK. And that hashtag is No More Shame. And we try to monitor the No More Shame hashtag 24/7 on Twitter. And if we don't do it, usually we have someone else, a member of our community, who will pipe in there. So if you would like to connect with us during the week, that is the hashtag to use, or just tag us.
Yeah.
And we'll give you our Twitter handles here in a bit. And then on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time and 2 a.m. Wednesday morning for the UK peeps is our third and final Twitter chat of the week, and that hashtag is Sex Abuse Chat. There we also have Facebook support groups. I'm going to make this a little bigger and move it up. And in order to get into those, we would ask that you would please like the Trauma Recovery University page, and then
these are 4 easy steps.
4 easy steps. And then friend us. I'll be honest, it helps if you friend both of us and send both of us a message, because sometimes one or the other of us might be having a busier week than the other, and one of us can get back to you sooner than the other. So friend us and then send us a message saying you would like to heal in safe community. If you send us a message without friending us first, then you will go into our other folder, where I now have 40 messages that Facebook is blinking and telling me that are there that I haven't checked. So you do not want to go into the other folder. It is Facebook message limbo. So make sure and friend us first, and then if we don't know you from our Twitter chats or from these Google Hangouts or from Facebook already, we'll probably ask you a few questions. And that is to verify that you are who you say you are, so we do not mistakenly allow an abuser or an abusive person into one of our support groups, because we very highly value the safety of our support group members. And you can watch any of our videos on Athena, are they all up on the website or just the most recent one and then the other videos they need to go to YouTube?
They can actually see almost all of our videos right there on our website. But if you wanted to go to YouTube and they're all in the same space, you would just go to youtube.com/Trauma Recovery University TV.
And there they be.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys, I want to show you something really quick. This is a member of our community. His name is Stu, and he is so awesome. So huge shout out to Stu. He just sent out a tweet saying, "This is a face that carries no more shame. Support childhood sexual abuse survivors." Thank you,
Yay!
Stu. Thank you for kicking off No More Shame November, Stu. We totally love you. You're awesome.
He is awesome. And he works with the Gatehouse out of Canada that Athena mentioned earlier. So
yeah,
an absolutely amazing resource to run several of their support groups. And frankly, we adore him. So there you go, Stu. Present to everyone.
There we go.
I clicked it, didn't I? Okay, I did.
You did. You're so awesome.
Okay. Ways to contact us. You can email me, BobbyLParish@gmail.com. You can email Athena at AthenaMobergspeaking@gmail.com. I don't want to cut off our heads there. You can tweet me at Bobby L. Parish or Athena at Athena Moberg. And then Trauma Recovery University is Trauma Recovery U. On Facebook, we have Trauma Recovery University. My business page is Bobby Parish Coaching and Consulting, and my personal page is Bobby L. Parish. Athena's Facebook business page is Athena Moberg Speaking, and her personal page is Dawn Athena Moberg. And then you can also watch us on YouTube 24/7. Trauma Recovery University, and Roku TV on Trauma Recovery University, and on Google Plus, Trauma Recovery University. And you can always come watch us or the current video at bit.ly/Trauma Recovery U.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay! So No More Shame November is in full effect, you guys. We are so excited to talk about this month of advocacy that we wait for the entire year. So if you are a survivor, an adult survivor of childhood sexual abuse, we want to encourage you to send us a link to your blog. If you provide any type of services for adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse, please send us a link to your website. If you are someone who's written a book about childhood sexual abuse, please send us a link, and we would love to just add you to our list of awesome resources. We have several members of our community that are very, very, very talented. We have blog writers, we have artists like Jack Lumen, the Tao of Jack Lumen. He makes all of these sanity signs, and they're tweetables and pinnables and all kinds of awesome things. We have a Pinterest board we would love to pin some stuff on. We have essays that have been submitted to share true survivor stories, to share, just to get out there into the world so that the community that we have of adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse, which is growing, by the way, it grew from like 3 people to like 3 or 5, 30,000. Like there's so many of you. So if that's you and you would like to just be a part of No More Shame November, we would love to welcome you to join us and just amplify your voice, amplify your message. We would love to promote you and just encourage others to follow you, and we could just use all of the support we could possibly get. Keep in mind that PTSD Awareness Month, which is the month of June, is our next sort of advocacy and awareness type month, and that's when we'll be doing a fundraiser for Trauma Recovery Ministries. So, but No More Shame November is in full effect, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. Send us an email at nomoreshameproject@gmail.com. Bobby, what would you like to share with everyone? What are your parting thoughts for everyone tonight?
Actually, I would like to wish you a belated birthday because your birthday was on Friday. Yay! Your birthday was Saturday. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you so much. I was a little, if I haven't responded personally to your birthday messages, it's not because I'm not grateful. It is because there are hundreds of you. And I feel so overwhelmed in a good way with love and kindness and support. And just, you guys are so wonderful and kind. And I just want to thank you personally for each and every one of your birthday messages. I just haven't responded personally to all of them. I sort of have to pace myself and do like 20 a day or 30 a day. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So I appreciate your patience and thank you so much, Bobby. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so send Athena good thoughts as she is about to hit the road again on Wednesday to do some traveling, this time primarily over on the East Coast. But then she will be here in Texas for a few days before we send her home to Maui. So
I'll be in Alabama in between Texas. I fly from here to California, and my son is going to come to the airport, and my daughter-in-law, they're going to give me a hug in between my layover from LA to Chicago. And then I go from Chicago to West Palm Beach, Florida, and then I get to meet several of you guys, which I'm so excited about. And then I go from Florida to Alabama, where I get to see a few of you guys, which I'm very excited about. And then I drive on from Alabama to Texas, where I get to see Bobby. I'm so excited I get to see you. So, and we're going to have our vision casting day for our business plan for all of 2016, topics, how we're going to address them, the number of minutes we're going to have on videos, the speaking engagements we're going to be trying to be a part of, the speaking engagements we are not going to be being a part of. We have to say no to a lot of opportunities in order to say yes to the ones that we know we're supposed to do. So that is where that's what I'm doing, you guys. That's my week. I'm packing tomorrow. I'm leaving the following morning. And I really want to make sure that I can be at Sex Abuse Chat tomorrow. I'm in sort of the middle of, I have a deadline that is tomorrow, and then I'm packing. So I'm hoping that I'll see you guys at Sex Abuse Chat tomorrow before I fly out.
Yes. If not, y'all can come see me. I'll be there.
Bobby will be there for sure. I'm hoping that I'll be there. But thanks for the birthday wishes, Bobby. And I'm looking forward to coming to see you again and to our vision casting day and just planning out the whole year. And if you guys have some topics that you want addressed in the year of 2016, you know that we always ask you first, what do you need? What would you like? And what would you like us to address? And what are the subtopics in the topics that you want talked about? So if that is you and you have a specific need, some of our greatest, most valuable and popular topics are ones that were recommended by you, such as narcissistic parents, or Bobby, no, maybe not narcissistic parents, sibling abuse. We have so many topics that were recommended by our community members, and they have become just almost like subsets of our entire community, where it's just become way more prevalent. It's way more prevalent than we knew, and very popular topic for people to just really realize that they're not alone for the first time in their life. They're actually realizing that. So, yeah. So my lighting is a little funky tonight, you guys. I know I'm turning yellow and I'm orange and I'm like dark and light and I'm trying like close and far away and
disco lights.
I have disco lights going on tonight, but I was
roller skates on too.
Not tonight. No, maybe later. Maybe later. I don't know. But I will be, so just to give you guys a heads up, next Monday night, I will be broadcasting live from West Palm Beach, Florida at Covenant Fellowship. I'll be in some sort of a room. I don't know what room I'll be in, but that's where I'll be broadcasting from, where I will have just come off of a speaking engagement, immediately stepping into broadcasting with you guys. So forgive me if I'm a couple minutes tardy. I'm doing my best to be on time next week, but I can't wait to see you guys. And just leave your comments below if this video was helpful for you. Give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Let us know if there's anything else we can do to best support you, because we really do care. Anything else, Bobby?
Nope, I think that's it. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much, you guys. I'm Athena Moberg. This is Bobby Parrish, and we love to bring you everything you need for healthy, informed trauma recovery. So until next week, aloha.